he's a pretty big guy. He's 6 feet tall, 155 pounds, even though he's in great shape. I mean, you know, that's a lot of sucking down to do. But yeah, things are looking up pretty well for him. 10-2 in UFC, or excuse me, in his MMA career. Shit, about half of those in the UFC. 4 KOs, 3 submission victories. So he is actually becoming a little bit more rounded. He's training with Team Alpha Male. Uriah is going to be his head coach and his corner man, I'm pretty sure. And we all know what he does. Fucking fantastic at Taekwondo and pretty much every other type of kicking, Chinese style or Asian style martial art. It's pretty much where he excels. But yeah, interesting to see where he is or where he's at here as a welterweight. On the other side, Zach Otto, sort of back and forth over the last little bit, has already fought once this year back in March, got a W, a TKO first round over Mike Pyle. That was actually a pretty awesome fight. Before that, about 4 months ago, last November, in one that was not good for him, he got knocked out by Li Jinglang with just some punches. And then about 5 months before that, he's been pretty busy, a win over Kiichi Kunamoto. A little more up and down, a little bit more of a journeyman career so far for Zach Otto. This would be a big win for him, I would have to say. 16-5, 3 KOs, 10 submissions, black belt in jiu-jitsu, fighting out of Rufus Sport as well. Rick Glenn, Anthony Pettis, who just fought. One of the better striking schools in the country. I think he's working. No, never mind. Sorry. But yeah, fantastic game planning there. Duke Rufus is in, incredible kickboxing coach. Actually, better kickboxing coach probably than he was even a kickboxer. But yeah, Zach Otto looking half decent. That knockout against Jing Liang really derailed some stuff that he was putting together well. This is going to be an awesome fight, though, I think. A battle generally of two styles. Otto, even though he's working with Rufus, probably doesn't want to turn this into a kickboxing match with Sage Northcutt. And if he does, maybe more of a Thai style. Eating him up with some leg kicks and going to the body a little bit, trying to wear down Sage Northcutt. Where obviously Sage Northcutt's looking for head kicks. He's going to be doing a lot of spinning kicks. He, dynamic switching kicks up to different levels of the body. Hands are looking okay. Like I said, he's been training. He's now a blue belt. He's with Team Alpha Male, another fantastic game planning team, especially for somebody that actually has deficiencies in grappling, because they're all so good at grappling. They're a wrestling and wrestling jiu-jitsu or submission wrestling based team. I think that's a fantastic place for Sage Northcutt to be and to learn. Very positive environment. He's a very positive guy as well. I think it's going to work out well. I see Sage Northcutt winning this fight, either unanimous decision or a knockout. I'm going to say late third round, a third round knockout for Northcutt. He is, I guess I should have said, he's a minus 145 favorite, so he's a slight favorite over Otto. Otto will get you a plus 115 if you're into the gambling aspects of it. Again, though, what does Sage Northcutt not want by any means? To go to the ground with Zach Otto. Black belt in jiu-jitsu, like I said, 10 submissions, 10 of his 16 wins come by submission. That's where you do not want to be, specifically if you're Sage Northcutt, a guy who just got choked out by Nicky Gall, and a guy who's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. But his athleticism and his striking, I think, is going to actually make the difference, survive into the third round, and I see a knockout or TKO coming for him. All right, we're moving on to the back page here of either the main event or the main card, or at least the ones we're going to be talking about. Back to the welterweight division, or still in the welterweight division. Let's just hang out where we've been. Randy Brown, let's see, been in the UFC for a little bit now, kind of understated or a little bit unknown-ish, it seems like. Going to be taking on Nico Price. Again, sort of the same situation there. Nico Price been in the UFC for a little bit. Both of them actually have really good records. Both of them up-and-comers. None of them quite getting the attention that you might think after the amount of fights that they've had. Probably because they're in the welterweight division. It's obviously stacked, and welterweights are a dime a dozen. Lightweights are a dime a dozen, you know what I mean? Seems like. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's get into it. Randy Brown coming off of a decision victory over Mickey Gall, person's name we've said at least 3 or 4 times already this podcast. I really like Mickey Gall, but Randy Brown, interesting striking. I really like Randy Brown, 6'3" at 170 pounds. How about that? 78-inch reach at 170 pounds. That's pretty fucking impressive. However, though, Nico Price has a 76-inch reach. We're talking about a 2-inch difference only. And 6 feet tall, that's pretty normal for 170. But 6'3", 78-inch reach for Randy Brown. 10-2 on the career, 5 knockouts, 3 submissions. Brown belt in the jiu-jitsu game, fighting out of the Budokan Academy in Queens. Obviously, a Asian-style kickboxing academy. That's sort of his thing. Before his victory over Gall in November, he hadn't fought since February of last year, 2017, in a loss to Bilal Muhammad. That was a decision loss. And before that, he had fought just 2 months before that, TKO'd Brian Camozzi with a knee and some punches. That was a pretty sick little event there. Only one fight, and it was a win over Mickey Gall in, how many months is that? 17 months or so? Yeah. A little bit of inaction. 27 years of age, probably doesn't really mean much. He's probably been training quite a bit. I expect a lot out of Randy Brown. I think he's going to make a lot of fans. This might be the fight of the night, honestly. If I had to pick, I would probably say this has fight of the night written all over it. Either this or maybe the Jury Mendez fight, which we'll be talking about in a little bit, but this fight's going to be awesome. On the other hand, Nico Price, back and forth a little bit victoriously, just like Randy Brown. Earlier this year, he submitted George Sullivan with a rear naked choke in the second round. That was back in January. 3 months before that, fought Vicente Luque. He was submitted with a second round Darce choke in that one. That was a pretty awesome one. No disrespect to that one. And then just 2 months before that, he TKO'd Alan Joe Ban, first round. And that was a performance of the night there for the UFC. So he has had 3 fights within the last year, not even a year. 3 fights in 11 months. Obviously, a lot more active for Nico Price. Brown belt in jiu-jitsu as well. Both guys are. He's fighting out of ATT, coming in with Junior Dos Santos over here. 11, 1 and 1 no contest, 7 knockouts, 3 submissions. Very similar to Randy Brown as far as the record is concerned. Probably a little bit more power. This is going to be, a fantastic fight. I'm excited to watch it. And the odds makers have it pretty even here. Randy Brown, minus 125. Nico Price, minus 105. So you're actually going to have to pay a little bit of the VIG for both of them. You're not going to get a plus for either of them. That's actually how close it is. What do I think is going to happen? I like Price. I think Price wins by knockout if I have to pick. It's going to be fucking awesome. He's going to probably need to get in a little bit closer. Obviously, Randy Brown's going to do some try to look like Israel Adesanya or whatever. Minnie Anderson, something like that. But I think Price just heavy-handed a little bit more. I think he's able to close the distance and probably get a knockout. I'm going to go third round. Third round knockout for Nico Price. Collect the money. All right, moving on to the last men's fight that we're going to be talking about here. Back to the featherweight division. It's weird that this fight isn't actually the co-main event. This is the only, other than the women's fight, which we're going to talk about in a second, this is the only fight other than the main event that has a ranked fighter in it. And not only that, one of these fighters happens to have beaten one of the other guys in their very last fight. So you probably know who it is. We're doing number 12, Miles Jury taking on Chad Mendez. There we go. Bringing another Team Alpha male in. Mendez had a little bit of a rough run, recently. He hasn't fought in 3 years. He did have the 2-year suspension. He's just coming off of the 2-year suspension for the growth hormone. Getting popped. Not here to speculate on what that was about. Either way. 33 years of age, man. He lost, 31 through 33. That's really tough, especially for a guy who's taken as much, wear and tear and had as much damage as he has. He's been in a lot of fights. 21, I guess that's not a ton, but it seems like he's been, almost all of them been in the UFC. But 17-4 record. Let's not sleep on that. 7 KOs, a lot of decisions. But yeah, I mean, 17-4 record, nothing to sleep on. His last fight was actually back in December of 2015. So what is that? 2.5 years, not quite 3 years. KO'd in the first round by Frankie Edgar. Before that, let's see, what am I looking here? He had fought, 5 months before that for the interim featherweight championship. Got TKO'd by Conor McGregor in the second round. Remember that one? That was awesome. Catapulting Conor into legendary status. At least that was, sort of the beginning right there that got him the fight with Aldo. Before that, his last fight was a win over Ricardo Lamas, where he TKO'd Lamas back in April of 2015. Performance of the night. That obviously got him the fight for the interim championship against Conor. But yeah, really sad. Somebody that probably was on the periphery of being a featherweight champion, a bantamweight champion. Also, I mean, it's just really, really unfortunate the way, with the suspension. I know I'm not trying to speculate or say what's right or wrong. It just really is unfortunate that had to happen at this stage in his career. On the other hand, Miles Jury, doing pretty well. 2 fights last year. We already talked about one of them back in December on the New Year's Eve show. He beat Rick Glenn by decision. Rick Glenn, obviously, fighting against Dennis Bermudez as the co-main event in this card, I guess. Not sure how that works, but it's okay. Before that, April of 2017 last year, he TKO'd Mike De La Torre with some elbows and some P's. Miles Jury's a sweet striker, a sweet submission artist as well. Did have a setback, his basically 3 years ago now, almost 3 years ago. A week after Chad Mendez's last fight, he was submitted by Charles Oliveira, the Cowboy, first round guillotine. Can't forget about that, but that is a little bit in the distant past there. 29 years of age, about 4 years younger than Chad. Probably just coming into his physical prime. And that's going to be, helpful for him. He's going to be 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. 5 inches in height, 7 inches in arm. That's going to be a big, big deal in what happens in this fight. Also, is there any ring rust for Chad Mendez? I mean, that's clear. Everybody would have, is going to have that question. Jerry's record, fantastic. 17 wins, 2 losses. 8 knockouts, 5 by submission. More knockouts and submissions than Chad Mendez at the same amount of victories. Obviously didn't fight at the same level of competition. Before the last 2 fights for Mendez, he was also 17-2, So, but yeah, had to fight Frankie Edgar, Conor McGregor, Ricardo Lamas. All of those guys are better than any of the people that Jerry has fought, at least recently. But this is, a big opportunity for both of them here. Jerry, black belt in Jerry Jiu-Jitsu. He's got his own jiu-jitsu system. He's going to be fighting with Firas Zahabi. Coming out of TriStar, that's where he's been training up in Montreal. I mean, for Chad Mendez, obviously, he wants to pressure. Same thing as a Dennis Bermudez style fighter. He's going to be looking to, get in close, break that distance as much as he possibly can. Uppercuts, hooks, take him down, ground and pound. Stay out of the submission game from Jury, and that's pretty much going to be his best case scenario as far as Chad Mendez is concerned on how to win this fight. He doesn't really want to make this a kickboxing match. Jury probably a little bit more dynamic, technically skilled than Mendez is as far as kickboxing is concerned, and obviously he has the height and probably power advantage as well. So you kind of want to stay away from that. Get inside, make it dirty, make it difficult for Jury to strike with you. And that's going to be the key for Chad Mendez. Let's take a look at the odds here. I'm not actually sure what they are. Ooh, Mendez. They're saying experience matters. Mendez a minus 160. Miles Jury a plus 130. I think that's pretty interesting. I guess, Chad Mendez would probably be ranked in the top 5 right now had it not be for the 2-year suspension. He's obviously been at a much higher level at times than Miles Jury has. Fought the majority of his career in the UFC. The majority of his career against pretty damn high-level competition. I get it. Yeah, I agree. I'll take Mendez. I think he's probably going to get a decision victory. I don't see him knocking out Jury. If anybody gets knocked out, it's probably going to be Chad Mendez. His last 2 fights, he was knocked out in a total of 7 or 8 minutes or something like that. But you know, I'll go